Good afternoon, friends. It's a pleasure to connect with you through a remote conversation to discuss remote design and development and whether it's possible to use simulation and virtual technology in the new brave world. Friends, the question of remote design and development using simulation and virtual technology is not new to us. Ever since we started our careers in automotive, this question has been receiving our attention. But little did we know that we would require to implement this perhaps at very short notice when we were engulfed by a black swan event that we were little prepared for. COVID made us do things that we probably would have taken years to do. And suddenly we find that we are face to face with reality of a situation that we were confronting ourselves with over the many years. Using remote tools that would be able to connect people across the globe, perhaps remote villages in different parts of the country, to the most advanced technical and technological centers in different parts of the world. The question was, would we be able to connect all of us seamlessly so that we are able to reduce cost, improve productivity, and improve efficiency? The answers were difficult to find and was always confronted with challenges of licenses, costs, huge infrastructure investments, ability of bandwidths to be able to support it, and having different parts of the people living in different parts of the globe working seamlessly so as to be able to do this. We always thought that it's difficult, though not impossible. The challenges that we faced suddenly were that we had to do exactly what we wanted to do, and we were made to do this when we were not as prepared as we would have liked ourselves to be. As we all know, that the digital environment is normally seen as something which is before the physical environment. And for most of us who've been in the product development environment, we always saw this perhaps as discrete set of things that needed to be done. First digital, followed by physical. But we now realize more than ever that digital and physical are not discrete events. And we realize that for digital to be successful, the physical has to be intertwined in the digital element. Let me give you a case in point. Every product development starts with the brand expectations of what the product should meet. It talks about defining what our product stands for. It defines what the attribute should be. It starts with a large amount of benchmarking. Mind you, these are all physical events. From these physical events, we also capture what our product should be able to meet. We manage understanding what the road loads should be. These again are physical events. These are then counted, acted upon, and converted to digital numbers on the basis of which a large amount of computer-aided simulations are done in the simulation and virtual environment to be able to lead product development. The good news is that we are now learning to do this in a digital come physical way, and the questions that we are asking is, all that what we were doing physically, can it be done virtually? The answers are not easy, and more often than not, the answers may be, it's not a black and white, but somewhere in gray, where we probably say that yes, many things that we thought that were not possible to do, it is possible today. And many things that we thought is easily possible are now being confronted with question marks of its credibility and ability to go forward. In the next few slides, me and my senior colleague, Rohit, from Tata Motors, who are responsible for the entire simulation in Tata Motors, whether it is passenger cars, commercial vehicles, defense vehicles, electric vehicles. We are responsible for all these. And we've got a whole team of people, in hundreds of them, I must say, a team consisting of our Tata Motors associates and teams which participate with us on a need basis, and outsource corporations which work with us in the digital environment to do a large amount of simulations. Our challenges when the lockdown started was one which is not similarly accountable by other manufacturers or other companies. We had to deal with a large number of people who required huge bandwidths to operate from home. At first, we thought that this challenge is an insurmountable, but over the past few weeks and months, Rohit will tell you how we have gone about this in a very systematic way. Many of the myths surrounding our own questions have been put to rest. And we know certainly that if we had the time and the opportunity to look at remote design and development, the question is not whether it would happen, but the question now has been converted to, yes, it is possible. How do we make it happen? And how we could transform a post-COVID world to be able to do design and development remotely using simulation and virtual technology very effectively. There are a number of challenges that we'll have to overcome, but there is hope. And I will request Rohit, my dear friend, to deal with this question of how we have found hope and a way forward and how we could lead the way. So, my dear friend Rohit, I request you to take over, and I thank you. And I'll come back to close this conversation on some of the lessons that we have learned. Over to you, Rohit. Rohit Vaidya, Head of CAE in Tata Motors.
Thank you, Mr. Kutty, for your very apt introduction and very apt introduction of the program and of myself. Thank you indeed. With the context set by Mr. Kutty, I would like to take you through 3 examples of real-life situations on how we collaborate remotely and support the product development. To begin with, I would like to show you the geographical spread of some of our diverse and dispersed teams. We operate and undertake our product development through teams design offices, offshore development centers at locations in India, Europe, and East Asia. The development centers of some of our technology partners and suppliers are also located in these geographies. The backbone of these diverse and dispersed teams is the common file sharing system, common engineering data management, and high-speed network connectivity, not to forget the video conferencing and teleconferencing facilities that enable close to in-person conversations. Before we get into specific examples, I would like to give you a context of the product development process and its typical stages. The full development of a vehicle takes about 48 months, which is 6 stages and separated by 5 gateways. The engineering activity is concentrated in the first 4 stages. With these, the simulation activity is intense in the second and the third stage. These 2 stages are typically of 12 to 16 months of duration. The first example I would like to consider and discuss is of aerodynamics development of the vehicle. The styling is an important decider for the vehicle and its success. In order to arrive at an acceptable styling along with adequate performance, numerous iterations are performed in the simulation domain and the styling iterations. This necessitates that the external aerodynamic simulation feedback to be made available at the senior management review is at a very short turnaround time. The aerodynamics modeling and simulation involves building models with sufficient detail and solving them on high performance computing clusters. These models are typically of 60 to 70 million cell sizes, and the turnaround time is about 5 to 6 days. Countermeasures such as spoilers, change in the roof line, front bumpers, rear bumpers, etc., are fed back to the styling and physical model building teams. As you will notice, this is a highly collaborative activity with a very high competition efforts. As the styling gets close to freeze, the engineering activity gathers. This is a phase of intense collaboration with various vendor partners and suppliers. Similarly, in case of managing the cooling performance and the underhood heat and thermal management, we partner and collaborate with suppliers of heat exchangers, blower units, and other aggregates. Multiple set of data is exchanged along with simulation and performance results in the endeavor to meet the vehicle level performance. Besides this, test data of engine heat maps and other operating conditions are sought from the test teams. In case of cabin comfort performance and airflow management, the performance is engineered by iterative loops of design, evaluate, and modify steps. The various ducts, its sizes, positioning of sizing of the blower unit is simulated and iterated. Similar to the earlier case of heat management, data exchange and simulation test data uh, with suppliers and manufacturers of HVAC units, ducts and vents. It happens at a regular and frequent occasions. We shall now consider and discuss the second case of NVH performance. The NVH performance can be classified in the three-pronged approach. First is source control, second, path optimization, and the third, receiver control. Source control involves a reduction in driveline excitations, powertrain radiated noise, powertrain structure optimization, and exhaust and intake noise reduction. The path optimization involves structure vibrations and acoustic sensitivity, thickness and shape optimization for weight and stiffness, engine and body mount design. Receiver comfort involves sound pack development, frequency balance for sound quality, lower tactile vibrations, pass by noise, uh, pass by noise control. In the product development stages, source control and path optimization happen at an early stage and is majorly in the virtual and simulation domain. This being mostly related to structures is a majorly collaborative effort of the internal TML teams. During this phase, the NVH durability and crash performance of the vehicle needs to be engineered concurrently. This is therefore an opportunity and a challenge. The NVH and durability performance and its governing engineering variables are majorly directly proportional. However, there are certain conflicts in achieving the crash performance. This necessitates intense brainstorming, conversations, and data exchange and iterative loops. The third example we consider and discuss is that of a durability performance. The engineering durability performance is similar and dissimilar with respect to aerothermal, NVH, and crash in several aspects. One of it is in the sheer number of individual parts and components that are individually evaluated for its standalone performance. Therefore, in case of durability performance, the integration of individual part performance and that of the aggregate or assembly becomes important and critical. Here again, it is an intense collaboration activity of the internal teams. In case of parts made of non-metals, elastomers, plastics, composites, reinforced plastics, etc., collaboration with diverse set of materials suppliers, part manufacturers is necessary. In case of durability performance, various internal internal engineering teams collaborate. For example, BIW or cabin design, chassis systems team, trims and closures team, outdoor and highway durability teams, indoor test rig teams, materials engineering team, prototype manufacturing. Besides this, some external vendors like component and stamping suppliers also collaborate. In these examples that we have discussed so far, I can summarize the set of challenges as follows. In all of these examples, the data exchange and the file size were very huge. It necessitated and required large data handling. There were several post-processing challenges, including shorter turnaround time. Solver queues due to missing interactions is also a challenge. Gathering the physical data and other vehicle operating conditions from various teams, physical testing teams, which are located at several parts and data gathered from all parts of India is also a challenge. Besides this, there are other soft challenges like communication challenge, network connectivity issues, guidance and mentoring because of the distributed team and non-availability of experienced people at hand. Besides this, we can feel a disconnect from the physical world. Uncertainty due to local network issues and other internal issues. Besides this, planning and execution challenges simply because people are out of reach. However, these challenges are not a no-go. There are enablers which will help us in overcoming this. Some of them are common database of documents and data access and security, common PLM systems for engineering data, including design data, material database, test data, other operating conditions stored at a unique place, common governance dashboard. This will ensure that adequate decision making happens with objective data at hand. Robust and reliable high-speed network, high-power computing, memory storage, retrievability, and security. Before I conclude, I would like to touch upon two important aspects. First is on the engineering approach. It is extremely important and useful that we follow a modular approach and heavy extent of standardization of parts. Second, we need extremely and high execution discipline and communication clarity so that the expectations and specifications are clearly understood. If I were to give you a snapshot of how this COVID pandemic would fast track the remote working, I would depict in the last two slides. Thank you all for giving me a patient hearing and would now request Mr. Kutty for his concluding remarks. We are also here to take your questions. If you have any, feel free. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit, for your deep and insightful remarks. It's been pretty interesting to see the journey of what we were doing in Tata Motors. That said, COVID has left us with a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities that we need to deal with. The questions of hopelessness that we started with today are lessons for us in hope. We now are sure that an environment that tested out a number of our concepts are out in the open. We are pretty sure that digital and physical can coexist much better than what we thought initially in the digital space. We are now left with the opportunity of many things that we probably were thought as unsurmountable. Let me name a few. Earlier, when we were thinking of licenses to be used, we would normally think of licenses that could be used in a very limited manner. So you have a license which was shared by 3 people working in 3 shifts. Today, when we know that we can work from home and we know that the travel times are not to be accounted for, and if there are 3 people which were traveling to work both ways of 1 hour each, we suddenly find that we have got 6 hours available where licenses can probably be used better. Suddenly we are seeing that utilization of licenses can now improve by more than 25%. That said, the other opportunity that we now know is that it's no more necessary that people have to be working in a co-located space inside the product development center. For example, we could have bright young talent available anywhere. It could be the remotest of the remotest villages of India, where people with internet and bandwidth could be able to do simulation sitting in the confines of their homes. We could also connect to people at high-end technical centers across the globe. And as we are finding answers to questions which were only questions before COVID, we are finding that we had this opportunity to experiment in a way which was not possible ever before. When we started this at the beginning of the crisis, the questions were, would we be able to do it? And now, with better understanding of what is possible, work from home, digital collaboration is indeed a reality. Rohit's case studies of the areas that he did cover shows that despite bandwidth problems, despite power outages, despite the fact that we would have requirements for many more equipment where people have to work from home and the sharing of equipment being less possible than what it is in a center where product development happens. The world is learning new ways of working. And for sure, Tata Motors finds itself in a sweet spot of the ability to use technology in a manner that we probably thought was possible earlier, but now for sure, we know for sure that it's a reality. So thank you, friends, for giving us the time and attention. And I thank Rohit for his time. And I thank all of you for the time that you spent with us. Thank you.